Okay, so today I felt like playing Chess 960, and I've only played it a few times really in the last couple years, so I could actually say what my title is, which is this is only the third time in 960 days that I played Chess 960, which is probably pretty much true. I very rarely have played it. Even when I used to say that I liked variants in the past, I don't think I played 960 much. Not that I didn't even like it, but there's so many other ones that completely changed the game. Like, I like the ones with different pieces and stuff. Like Chaturanga is completely different. It's not even a variant of chess. Chess is a variant of Chaturanga technically, but the point is that, yeah, I haven't played it very much, and so I'll try it here. I can't play on Lichess or chess.com because of my failed challenges, so obviously this is some random site that I've actually never heard of. I don't know if it's new, but see, whenever a site does this banner, this is what I wanted from that Stratego site. Show me how many people are online, whether it's lying or making that up or not, but that's actually pretty good. That makes it seem like an active site, so why have I never heard about this? Is this new? Like, that's actually a really good number, compared to how dead most of these sites are. So I'll try this. Maybe I'll just do it as a guess for now. But my point is that there's a bit of a debate on the names that people are getting sort of pissed about. Like, oh, it's freestyle chess one day, it's the GOAT challenge one day, it's Fisher random one day, it's 960 one day, it's setup chess. Well, I guess it's not setup, but that would be separate. But you could do setup with 960 obviously as well. And yeah, somebody was saying, oh, technically the pawns move too, but it just doesn't matter. You wouldn't notice, right? But no, it's a case where obviously Fisher came up with it, so if calling it Fisher is very fair. I think calling it 960 is also okay because that's the number of positions, so that's an objective measure. That's like an absolutist tendency nametaking, like an absolutist would name something for function, like tell us what it is, tell us something about it. Don't name it after the person, like a lot of scientific discoveries are like that, right? Oh, it's pasteurization because Louis Pasteur came up with it, right? That doesn't tell you what it actually is, even if it's become ubiquitous with that, right? That we associate it with that, but like pasteurizing something. But the point is that, yeah, calling it Fisher random is okay because obviously he came up with it. Calling it 960 is good because it tells you functionally what it is. And then calling it freestyle, I'm not so sure. That's kind of vague and stupid. And the GOAT challenge was just something they did a while ago with it. But freestyle, I don't really like because I don't know what that could mean. A lot of things. It doesn't really relate to it. But yeah, and it's always very telling, right? Like when somebody is so good at something that they get bored of it and they have to come up with their own, right? He made his own version of chess because the regular version was too easy for him, too boring for him. So the same thing happened with like Capablanca. He was afraid of the amount of draws that you get. So then he makes fairy chess, right? With respect to, right, Capablanca is so good that he made fairy chess. And then I'm surprised that doesn't show up. 10x8 board, some of the hybrid pieces. So again, when he was so good, he got bored and had to make his own version, just like Fisher had to do it. So it's no coincidence, right, that they came up with it, because the best people at something don't always come up with it in the first place, right? Like just because you're the best, how can I explain it? Right, just because you're the best athlete doesn't mean you'll come up with the sport. Just because you're the best player doesn't mean you'll come up with the game. But in this case, it is almost like that you come to. Why does it seem so dark? Oh, I guess my charger's not in. I'll have to fix that. But the point is that, yeah, when you're literally so good at the game yourself that you have to invent your own version because you get bored of it, right? It's really quite. So when people say, oh, what did Fisher do after quitting chess? He just disappeared and he was saying all controversial things. This is one very good thing that he did, right? In 1996. And you might think, oh, it only got such notoriety because he was the one behind it, but not really. I mean, it has some legitimate quality to it. There's a lot of bullshit that can happen in the early game, but yeah, I think Chess 960 is actually the best name because even though Fisher Random gives him credit for the person who came up with it, I guess Random sort of does, but you're kind of combining both. But 960 is the best name because it explains what it is, right? That you have the 960 positions you can rotate between. And also, imagine if you had like a gauntlet tournament like that where you have to go through every single position, right? You have to play all 960 positions out and see who wins out of those, even if it's like a bullet format. But see, while you could say, oh, it gives them credibility because they are so good that they made those, like Capablanca or Bobby Fischer, I would say it on a basic level too, like, just because you're not good at something either, it doesn't mean it always has to be personalized or an excuse. Like, oh, if you point out, if you point out something, right, like I say the number of draws in chess, I'm criticizing that, or I observe some other tendency like the flaws of the knight. It doesn't always have to be anecdotal, like oh, you're only saying that because you're only saying that because you're not good, right? Oh, you just say the knight's not good because you're not good with it, but I might not be good with any piece. Or oh, you're only saying there's so many draws because it's irrelevant because you're not at the point where you're getting that many because you're not good enough, or something like that. Like, oh, you just don't get it, or so. It doesn't always have to be like that. I hate when people I mean, I maybe should just sign up for an account, but let's see what we got here. It seems active to a certain degree. I mean, Rapid League, or maybe I should like rotate, but how do you even do 960? This is just how do you go into it? Maybe you'd have to, you know what, let's just sign up if I'm going to bother with it. But no, I'd be very happy to find another chess site that I can use. Wow, what an amazing thing. Like, what is this site? Why have I never heard of this? That's so weird. Not that it seems super active, but what the fuck is this? Chess Hotel is your go-to platform. I guess it's maybe recent, November 22nd, 2024, like a new chess site. Let's say you rate it. So I'll go ahead, I will sign up. And so I'll use my traditional name. Maybe I saw some reference to this before, but I really don't remember it. I'm always desperately looking for another backup site because, well, I guess I always treated Lichess as my backup site, but then what happened was I obviously failed that as well. So, which that one I never really thought I would, because that's more like a cushion. See, on chess.com it was a much harder permadeath format, like, oh, I have to get to 1500 rating by X time, or otherwise I have to delete my account, so I'm on the clock and I'm always having to make tremendous progress. The difference with Lichess was it was only a 50 increment, so like I would get to 1750, right? Then I can't fall below 17. But that's it. Like, so I just have to stay. Whenever I get to a 50 mark, I can't fall below the 100 mark right before it. So that was a little bit different because it's not quite as punishing of a condition. And the reason why is because I don't know, it's just different, and it's only in classical. So I never really thought I would have an issue with that. But ooh, can I put my picture as the icon too? That'd be so cool. Upload image. Yeah. We always got to find this. I was using my DeviantArt thing. That thing always fits so well. Is it this one? Yeah. And it's never like it's TOS or anything, unless you thought he was flipping you off with the fucking... Oh, this would be cool. See, look how excited I am to have a site that's actually fucking existent in chess in any way. Like, let me do a proper review of the site. The UI is pretty clean and everything. The site seems at least moderately active. I mean, again, it might not be super active, but anything is... Well, it says there's like almost 1,000 players, but how could there be when there's only like two or three games at a time? I don't get that. There's maybe a bit of a contradiction. Maybe it's lying to us here. Or it could just be that, like, those are the games that are not active, but like being hosted right now. Like, let me look. Yeah, this is the site. Simple AI. You got ads obviously in the background. That's understandable. So this is the homepage basically. You go in, you sign up, or you don't have to sign up. You can play as a guest, and you have all these games going on. So there's a decent amount. Oh, as soon as I say that, it doesn't look all that active. There's a lot of games being presented, and then once they start, they don't show them anymore. So there's 850 players online, which is a good number. I mean, that's honestly not bad at a random time. So the amount of activity, this could also be like cross-platform, people playing on their phone. But so you're going to have standard chess and 960 seem to be the main modes. Let me look through the UI a bit. You'll host it here. You'll play it there. I'm not necessarily going to do a permanent challenge with this because this might be a good bastion of somewhere left that I have to play. League games 40, analyzes 10. I don't know if that's actually a mistype, analyses, or I don't know what that is meant to be. Rapid League, 1200 rating, 0 out of 5 placement games. Those will be like the provisional, I guess, aspect. You have bullet, 1 minute, 2 minute, 2+1. Of course, you can do custom here. Standard, chess 960, live, daily. blitz. See, I'm always rooting for anything different, right? Like, I don't really care what site it is. I'd be more than happy to see competition is always good for the marketplace. Got bullet, blitz, rapid, 10, 15, 15 plus 5. I'm not a big fan of increments. I would rather have just a longer format, but be guaranteed what it is, right? And know that it's fixed instead of having to worry about the cheeky increment aspect. But that's just my preference. Standard 960 obviously is there. And I could actually do some 10-minute. You know, I should do a time format rotation, a permadeath rotation like that. Not really that it's permadeath. I'll play each time format until, well, aside from, I'll do it like that. I'll do bullet, blitz, rapid, and then like if I'll play bullet till I lose, then I'll play blitz till I lose, then I'll play rapid till I lose, then I'll play 960 till I lose. But I won't do the other time formats with 960 because we'll just do the same one every time. That's fine. So hopefully if I host them, there'll be activity here. Again, you see the high player count, but I don't get what was happening with that. Didn't you see at the beginning, like where there was a ton of games being shown here and now they're all gone? Like, why? That's weird, right? Why would there be so much activity there? This, of course, shows you that there's some BS going on, right? Maybe no cheating enforcement. So you have an 8,390 rated player. And then everybody else is normal 18, 17. I'm very confused by that. Like, what? Is this the whole player base of everybody who's on here? Or this must be who's everybody's online right now. Right, this couldn't be the entire player base of the website. Is it saying, oh, 800 online now? This must be everybody who's online now. I love this dude. I mean, again, you could criticize even maybe cheating or not, cheating or sites cracking down on that, but I'm never really convinced because there's no way to really do it. I've always argued that. Again, I appreciate sites trying to do the best they can, but what it comes down to is people could be cheating all the time. You would never know it, right? Especially when it's online. And they could always mask it. They could deliberately make a couple bad moves and then still win, right? It would be impossible to detect. Even when they're doing it on the webcams, they could have somebody outside the window across the street from them holding something up or a little hidden earpiece, or there's so many ways they could do it. Even when people are paranoid about over-the-board events, like, oh, Hans Niemann was using anal beads, but in an over-the-board event that you're highly conspicuous in searching him and everything like that, you're worried he's going to cheat there. But you don't think somebody could cheat in the comfort of their own home just because they're using a webcam? They couldn't have a million different ways to do it or whatever. So I'm never really sold on that. And then the other sense is like anybody could be cheating all the time, right? And so, and also you can't prove when they are. There's so much like anecdotal ex post facto justification nonsense. When these sites ban people, there really is no proof. They could have just had a lucky game. They could have just had a really good streak. They might not even, it's not quite as clear as people make it out to be. You beat a GM in one game and you have like an exceptional performance as like a 2200 or something, and then they'll say, oh, you must be doing it right. You have this whole clout with Kramnik or Hikaru or somebody, although Kramnik's lost credibility. It's like you're in a position to the puzzles, which I would never do obviously in any form. Like, all it would take, oh, Hikaru accuses you, and even if you weren't cheating, everybody will come up with some ex post facto justification nonsense, kind of similar to how Magnus accused Hans, and then people tried to put together some framework of how he was doing it. Again, not online, that's a separate issue, and obviously he did that. He even admitted to that in the past, but it's just a stupid discussion because you can never be sure of... you can never be sure, right? Everybody could be cheating all the time. Somebody could get banned and they're not cheating. Like it's very hard to determine that. These sites will show off. They'll post like, oh, this many people banned this month for fair play. Like, I guarantee you, like, whether they are cheating or not, it's like there's almost no way to tell to the extent that people say with confidence, right? It's very, very hard to tell. People come up with all kind of ex post facto justification nonsense, right? But whatever. Like, you'll say, oh, you couldn't have played at this level, but what if they were just really focused there? Or like, what if they really just did something above and beyond? Sometimes they'll make moves that they don't even realize the full implication of it, right? You can just play better above your rating. It's not quite set in stone the same way. Premium, don't really care. Bullet Season 4, so that always shows you it's relatively recent. Daily chess 960. So the UI is pretty simple. It's clean, but it's maybe a little bit too minimalistic, and obviously this might even take after the mobile app of it, because this might be how they designed it in mind of that. No league entered. Maybe that's the best idea to you only have 2, and their base set actually isn't that good, although it is a bit unique looking. You only have 2 sets to choose between, so maybe I'll use this one for the regular games and I'll use this one for 960, something like that. I don't know. Game behavior, auto queen promotion, I guess I don't have to do that. Sound, highlight last move, piece destinations, game filter. Sure. What about the guy in 8,000 play against guests? In a way, I almost don't want to do that, but you might have trouble. So I like it. It's very minimalistic, very to the point, but if it has activity, I'm more than happy to do it. Yeah, let me go in order like that. We'll do a Permadeath game mode or time format rotation. And 960 is just in its own world where I'll do it. How do I choose even 960? Like, it's showing the different time formats, so how do you choose the different game mode? Oh, you can change it there. It doesn't really give you the greatest feedback. 10, okay, so that I'll just do the same format no matter what, just because it's a different mode. But here we'll do each one. So I'll do bullet now until I lose a game, whether we play against okay, so we have to be a little faster. I'm not very good at bullet. Why does he seem so sluggish? He's a bot. What? Why does it seem like that? Or maybe that's just the animation speed. It just looks different because I'm dragging it, but with him it's going to be always a fixed. I don't know why that makes it seem sort of bot-like. I already blundered a pawn like that. You could raise a shit here. If you take, I could take. Oh, they don't have the arrows there necessarily. You can take. So I'm playing it kind of too slow, right? 32 seconds left. You gotta sometimes go for crazy crap, but you can also just sort of play it safe a bit. Just go here. You should try to play a moderate level, but I also can't be sure what this is going to be. And so if you take, I take. Okay, fine. Okay, dude. If you raise, I could take. My problem is that I'm going to be too slow, more so than whether I win or lose, or it makes me want to try all kinds of crazy stuff that I don't need to be doing. Right, I'm not really going to be mating them or doing some crazy attack anyway, so you go there, you go here. 4 seconds, you just got to get into flagging territory. Now he's starting to choke, he's starting to be slow. It doesn't matter, the time-wise, I should just win. Right, that's so stupid. Rating plus 10. So is that going to actually be a player? And the question is, let's see how good the analysis is. It wasn't even showing up like as a guest. Depth 15 out of 15, but it doesn't say like what it's using. Is it using stockfish or what? Okay, can we speed this shit up? Or this is like it's doing its whatever. I'm not gonna analyze fucking bullet games. We won that even if we did it in degenerate flag mode, so I'll do the same thing here. Try to play a little faster at the beginning. And the reason why is because the trading is very understandable, and so... What? Okay, that's when you're trying to play a little bit too fast, which I can still overcome like I just did the last game. Like, you see how fast I'm going, but they're still right there with me. You sometimes feel compelled to make these really weird moves. Fuck, it's not the cleanest. I'm not very fast with it. So they're up a piece, and time-wise, it's pretty similar. So the problem is, oh, it's the same guy though. So see, this is the problem. This is supposed to be so active, but then why is it not giving any feedback on the check either? The same guy, he very well might get his revenge. And so the problem is that this really comes down to time. That was a misclick, actually. But you get a little bit too much of this ad nonsense here. Sign up for premium today so you don't have to deal with it, but 9 seconds. I might be walking myself into a mate almost by doing this shit, but like, look at how my king is just dancing around now. He could do an unleash. That would have been good. It doesn't really give you very good feedback on the checks, I must admit. White wins on time. Okay, once again. So the whole thing is that it could be because he's around my rating or because he likes playing this mode, but I don't want to keep farming the same guy. His name is just R. Like, can I somehow... I get it. I'm trying to be supportive of the site even, but it's amazing how big of a deal that is. That like there's just no active sites, or there's like a monopoly impression that you get. That we're not playing chess, we're playing Monopoly because these sites, you know, the two big sites have a monopoly over it in a way that I'm good at doing sort of these filler moves though. Like you're not really doing anything, but okay. Bro. I even panicked, but bro didn't understand what happened. I missed the... I thought I blundered my queen. You got to be worried about time, but you can't be that worried about time, as in how... Okay. Even as I'm saying it, I just can't do it. Wow. Okay. Okay, dude. Okay. I just can't do anything. I'm screwed. I can't even move. Like, my space is so restricted. Okay, fine. We lose in bullet. At least that's a different player. Let's play blitz. This is why it teaches you even how to play the game the wrong way, because it's like you care about time, but you shouldn't care about time because it, you know, it teaches you all the bad habits. All right, this one I don't have to be as fast, so I can play kind of normal. And this ends up being not so bad, really, because it's a little fast, but I end up, you know, typically in a 10-minute game, you're not going to use the whole time anyway, although I'm kind of slow, so I might. But it's a case where you have... I keep misclicking. I don't know what it is about. Hey, I really didn't mean to do that. Fuck. It's a little, like, smaller of a board, I guess, compared to some of these sites. Let's go here. I don't know what we're doing with this. I'd like to trade the Lichess bishop. Then I could just do another V-shaped structure like this. We go here. We could raise this. Now it's going to create all kind of problems for no reason that I shouldn't have to deal with. Okay, we'll take this. We'll go here. They raise this. I could easily take... So here doesn't have to be quite as big of a deal. And the reason why is because this should be relatively comfortable in terms of them just sort of making filler moves at some point. And the reason why is because, you know, that's even a lost pawn, and I know it's a lost pawn, but for some reason I feel like doing it anyway. Because it maybe gives me some space with the bishop. You have this, which you can take, which is kind of odd that I allowed that. Sometimes it makes it seem like, oh, you're really doing something, but you're not really doing anything, right? Like I didn't make a mistake. I was doing that on purpose, but actually I wasn't. Almost just did that shit again. They could take, I could take, they could take, but then it would still do something there. I could do like a sick octopus knight here, which may or may not actually have value to it. You could maybe have a sack play with the rook that could be valuable there. I could give a check here. It's a pretty good spot. Yeah, it doesn't give you any feedback on the check, actually. There's some sort of sack play that could become here. It doesn't let you do the arrows, and it doesn't let you do the... Doesn't give you very good feedback for checks, I'll tell you that much. You also have... This is adequately covered. So unless they sack something, I feel relatively safe in this. And... This is a potential check, and also this is a potential take. They can't take. I would take. They would take. I would take. If they raise, I actually can't take. So here they take, and then I... They can't move the knight at all for now. So I will go here. They have a check fork. Okay. Well, again, I love that. That's what I always say. Like, I should just play for my opponent because I see what they should be doing before I even do it. But I would have had the unleash, I guess, anyway. They could take, I could take, they could still take. So it's... In fact, I can't even take that back. So it makes no sense what I'm doing right now, but it's all right. Like, I always see what the problem is, but I never actually do anything about it. You could take there, threatening that. Like, it's pretty much... I don't know why I play this badly. Just, I might be worried about time, but it shouldn't be this big of a deal. And... No, I could technically do that because you can't take, otherwise I take, but whatever, dude. You know, you can have it. I'm not good as it is, but especially in faster time formats, I just can't play. Like, I always go against my principle of being safe, too. Like, I don't have to do anything, really. Right? The way that I play is actually maybe suited for that. You just play super safe and win by attrition, win by flagging them. Like, even here, the timing is close. And what you could also do is you could basically... you could basically get almost a stalemate. We lost in the blitz one. Let's get to actually the real game. There you can actually think about what you're doing a little bit. It just shows you how trash that is. But this is why they glorify it. Like, oh, look how smart this 2000 FIDE bullet player is, like Botez or somebody. And it's like, it's just window dressing because you're not seeing what went into that. It's like the same show off mentality of something like... You spend 20, you know, maybe not 20 years in that case, but you spend a lot of time studying something, and then people don't see that. They don't see that, oh, look, Hikaru studied for his whole life. They see that, oh, look at his flashy bullet games online, and you want to be like that, and look how smart. It doesn't mean it's not impressive. It just means that you're looking at it kind of the wrong way, and certainly it's meaningless, right? It's just a reflection of like, oh, you're doing the same thing in a faster period of time, so it's not actually inherently valuable. Right, the act of doing that. Any value that could be present is diminished by the same process, and so now you have the ability to... I would take... Okay, this we can always take a little more seriously. And like I said, if I lose this, I'll play 960, so this could be a permadeath little time format rotation, which has a certain amount of value to it. But yeah, like, it's like the expression I use... You're trying to speed run a game that you're playing for the first time, right? You're trying to speed run a game that you're playing for the first time. Who does a speed run first playthrough, right? Why would you want to do that? The way that I do Permadeath first playthroughs, I guess, is maybe people would question, but why would you want to speed run a game? Why would you want to speed run a game that you're playing for the first time that you don't even know how to play in the first place? Wouldn't you rather take your time if it's worth doing? And people might say, oh, it's more fun. But all you're saying there is really that you're subverting the process. You're saying, oh, the game isn't fun, so therefore you're going to try to minimize it, turn a turn-based game into a real-time game to try to make it enjoyable because it's not enjoyable on its own. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. Now you have this ability, but you can't actually do it. You could do this, but I almost want to push this. The light skirt bishop is pretty strong. Yeah, this might actually be a good last refuge. There might be a way I can like kind of crop this out because I'm not too happy with it. If I just zoom in a bit more, because it's one thing if I, yeah, maybe I can just do it like that. Like literally, or can I stretch it out even more and then I guess that kind of works. I mean, showing my background there I don't really like, but this is like what some high level player would do, or they'd shrink it even smaller, like, oh, it somehow helps them focus and scan the board because the board is kind of smaller as it appears on the screen. So now you have a double attack onto there, so they would take, and then you have like I should easily be able to beat the majority of people on here, but those other time formats were kind of pissing me off, and I'm not saying there's not a certain value to be had from that, but I'm saying that it's just not a good way to play, and you're always playing worse than you would if you played in another format. So what's the point? Like you're saying, oh, chess is okay, go ahead, take or draw. Draws don't count against me. Do it. My position isn't that good, is it? Like I guess I'm up a little material, so maybe they'd be happy in doing it, but offer draw, but I don't have to do it, so unless they do it. Or, I mean, at some point it'll be a threefold repetition compelled. Bro didn't have the guts to do a threefold repetition. The problem is they'll give it, if I do that, they'll give a check, then I'll move, but then they'll take because, you know what I mean? So we could go here. Could try to bait the trade. They could go here. Could be moderately problematic. If they don't do it, it's fine. I don't have like a very strong threat to do. I wanted to raise this, but my king pawns are a little messed up, but I am up material. It doesn't maybe have the best way to track your material advantage or disadvantage, right? Like it doesn't show the icons there. Like again, this site is very minimalistic, but if it is remotely active, I'm fine with it. The problem with some of these sites, though, that may have some activity, they're not going to have the best quality competition. Not that it really matters at my level, but even when I say that, then I end up losing. You know, I did my Permadeath website gauntlet. So this maybe won't be part of that because this is just something I've never even played on before. But it's a case where you could pin this shit down. As usual, the knight just kind of sitting there. I'm not even trying to use it. It's just getting in the way. It'll just be a liability all the time. And then you're hitting this, which you can do. Right, that move was kind of completely unnecessary. But then again, you can be a little cheeky about it because of the simple fact that now if you move it, you could move it to check, but then you're under threat. That might still be okay. But then you want a pawn and you won't win anything else. So now it's being double attacked and you can't move it. So that it was all part of my master plan, even though it really wasn't, and I just didn't think of moving that back there. But this is my version of an ad block right here. So you do this, I take the queen, which is pretty shocking that you'd allow me to do that. And I will go to here. You can try to hit this one over here, which is a little bit trickier for them to try to cover. They're threatening here. I have the Darkster Bishop itself, which is not really in a very good spot given this. If I check here, you could raise this. I could check here. I could take this. Oh! Alright. Yeah, I don't think... I've been in the mood for chess the last couple months anyway, but it's just... I don't know. I just wanted to play 960 anyway and be accurate to my time. It's just like you clearly don't care. Like, if you don't care, then why play? It's very annoying. I'm still not in such a bad spot. It's not very clear with the checks, honestly, the way that... Right, like I had no way of knowing that was going to happen. Like, it doesn't give you any feedback. No sound, no visual, no red highlight. The way that a lot of these sites do. And so I'm not down by a substantial amount of material, but I'm kind of stunned by how I played because it just really makes no sense at all. But you could come down to here, which really... This rook is kind of just trapped in there. So you give a check there. I could just stay around here. I'll take. Double threatening this. You don't really have a great way to cover. You could give a bunch of spam checks, I guess. This bishop didn't end up being very good, so yeah, we're just kind of showing what the format would be like in terms of we go in every game mode till we lose, every time format till I lose, then I move on to the next one. So I just lost them all on purpose very quickly, just to kind of demonstrate what that would be like. And so you have a situation where you could take with that. If only this was open would be so good. I just can't even move this thing out of there. It's completely trapped. Even now, it's still trapped. Like, what the fuck is this? So you can just do whatever you want. It's over. It's fine. I played way too fast. I may as well have played Blitz in this too, because I was able to, you know, only use like 3 minutes till I'm losing anyway. Just do it. You had mate. You still have mate. What kind of bot clown are you? Even though calling somebody a bot isn't much of an insult in chess, considering the bots are better than people. Like, even you feel the same in like AI and video games. You feel like, oh, the AI is so bad in GTA or in other games. A lot of the time, it's deliberately bad because they, you know, if they wanted, they could make AI that just hits you in the head every time, right? The headshots you every moment, everything, like whatever, based on the genre of the game, right? They could make AI that literally is perfect all the time, right? They could have done that for a long time, whether that's just the game just killing you or whether it's actually legitimately, you know, aiming and putting forth the effort and simulating the act of doing that. There's no reason why they couldn't have always done that. So the reason why you think AI in games has been bad over the years isn't because it is bad, it's because they try to dumb it down just to make it fair for the player so that it's not too crazy, you know what I mean? Now let's actually play 960, assuming anybody actually is going to play it. Okay, here we go. This is what I was intending to do anyway, but sometimes you just make an instinctive move like it's a normal opening, but you got to consider the fact that you got to consider the position for a second. And the reason why is because obviously, see, the problem is it ends up being that there's a meta for this shit too. Like, you might think there's not openings or anything, but it ends up being that there are the same considerations too, as far as like people will start to memorize and metagame aspects of it as well. This would be the perfect thing to do, which you're not letting me do. What if I do this? So I go here, they take I don't know what that means. I almost want to back off a little bit. So this is very interesting. Again, it emphasizes some of the other elements of the game that, like, imagine studying chess for 20 years in its base position and then realizing, oh, I could do the same for every other position, or, you know, like, now everybody's moved on and prefers freestyle or something else. So some of those skills still come into play, but they're not as big of a deal as you might think. And so you feel like, right, imagine how annoying that is. You study traditional chess your whole life, and then, oh no, now everybody's sick of it and wants to play this instead. Or it's a case where you again, you realize that every position in 960 could be as complicated, or you could put in just as much time studying that as you did the one you know, in the traditional game. So that have no more or less inherent value or balance or whatever to them potentially. If you take, otherwise I take, they take. You could push it here, try to do something. So everything should be fine with this. You take, you take. There's no arrows and no great board feedback, but main thing I care about is just some sort of active community player base, which may or may not actually be present here. I kind of forgot about the knight here in the corner. But yeah, you would think I would have liked 960 a bit more, and the reason why you would think that is because of the simple fact that I probably... You could go back to there. Wait, why didn't you do that? Oh, because... Oh, okay, I didn't even see the brilliance of my own move. I won that, or I would have won that, because if he went back there, I would have gone there. If he went... Well, why couldn't he go to the light square then? But then I guess I would have still... Either way, he was screwed. So I didn't fully realize how good my own thing was. Now here it might even be worth it to trade down, just because I literally just won a rook for free, so fuck it. Right, the game should be basically over now. Although the two dinky little fucking knights that I have are not really that good. In fact, that maybe shrunk my advantage more than I thought it would. I'm only up one piece. I don't know, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. If you raise, I could do it again here. They could take an open file, which could be a little bit scary. Right, they'll come up with some crazy shit still. So I won the rook literally for free, but yet I'm struggling to understand. Like, why am I not up by more? Then I traded down, sure, but I must have messed up more than I thought. Oh my god. Bro is really clowning right now. You really think it's just not a mathematical numbers game? Like, what do you think you're doing? And mostly all I'm trying to do is trade anyway. So I'll go here. I'll take. You can't do anything with this. You can try to cover it onto there. This guy is doing something, I must admit. He's doing something remarkable in his life right now that he's able to cover with everything he has. Mathematical anomaly what he just did in the game. Like, look at that. He somehow managed to match that, even though I have the extra shitty fucking knight. The difference is it won't matter because you just could go and do something else now because all his pieces are kind of locked down. So I can try to push it onto the other side here. There's got to be some check opening that I'm just not seeing. And the reason why I'm not seeing it is because you could take here, for example. And the reason why is because you can't take with this. So if I could somehow, or I could just do it now. They would take, I would take, they would take, I would still take. They could have just kind of kept going back and forth there. This is like one of those great moments of disappointment in the night. You have anywhere you can go, you can unleash, but it didn't actually do anything. The unleash is better just on the rook itself, but not like that didn't actually do anything. Okay, let's go here. We're threatening this. You can't really cover it very well, or maybe you can. You could give a check here. You can still hang around. One of these moves I'm going to make too fast, but no, I beat this guy pretty handily. It was actually better than I made it look because they kind of clowned it up a little bit. Or, I mean, I kind of traded down and got a little cocky, but whatever. It was pretty simple. Okay, we take this out. I mean, we're pretty much cleaning them up as far as the pawns are concerned. And the reason why is because we'll check there. And so it almost makes it seem like it would let you make an illegal move because it's so unclear with how it presents the checks. He's gonna keep doing the same shit over and over, isn't he? He's gonna threaten the knight now. I mean, we can just start pushing something if I feel like. Right, because you could just basically do whatever you want. You're gonna threaten here or here, neither of which actually do anything. And so if I just keep going, I can't do that. I push it here, they take. There's a forking opportunity there. And so now I go here. They could actually do some. No, I guess not, but if they could somehow threaten the rook, okay, fine. So that was a satisfactory session, right? I played every mode besides that. Actually did almost take an hour. Let me do like maybe one more 10-minute 960. I mean, I enjoy it, don't get me wrong. It's just sort of like, what is it showing me there? What the hell is that? All right, we'll do one more 960. I can imagine an ad gets you in trouble with some visual fucking feedback. Right, like whatever, it'll be some adult caliber ad. Or yeah, like they'll sue you for copyright. Like, oh, you're showing copyright content, but it's your own fucking ad. Like, all right, so you have the queen and the king there. I also don't like the castling rules. I feel like if the castle isn't like an objective normal castle, you shouldn't even do it at all in terms of, you know what I mean? Like if it's not the normal starting position of the king and the rook, it shouldn't work. So you can give a check here, which doesn't actually do anything at all. So I'll go all the way back to the other side of the board, and then I will decide to... Yeah, I pretty much believe unless the king and the queen, the king and the rook start on the normal squares, it shouldn't be a castle. I also believe that you should be able to have two bishops of the same color. I also believe that the rook shouldn't have to be spread out. Like those are some of the other rules that maybe shouldn't even be the case. The bishops have to be on opposite colors, but they shouldn't have to be. They could be the same for both players, fine. Or the rooks have to be, the king has to be in between the rooks, which it shouldn't have to be that. Like make a true 960 where you can be kind of, it can be anything that you want it to be. It doesn't even matter. You got a nice aesthetic pawn structure here. I'm going to be the best 960 player on here, but we're going to end up playing the same people over and over, even though it says there's a certain amount of activity. But I guess what limits you is the fact that it'll be how many people could be playing on this site right now in this exact time format, in this exact variant, right? At this rating. Like how many people are playing on this site, period, versus how many are playing at this exact time and this exact rating and this exact format and this exact variant. Everything like that lines up. It sounds like what I would say about aliens. Like, what are the chances of aliens existing, alien life? 100%. I'm sure there's some, we've already found some little amoebas or something on Mars or whatever, right? So that's not unreasonable. But what are the chances that there's not only alien life in existence, but there's also intelligent alien life that's been around, that's been able to survive long enough to get to a high level of technology that's even greater than our level of technology, right? That also would exist at this exact time as we do, even though time is kind of murky in space, and that they would have greater technology than us and have lasted this long and still be around and be able to reach us, and all, like, so all those things lining up is much less likely. Not simply the mere existence, like, okay, aliens exist, but did they develop to become as intelligent as we are, and then did they reach a technological apex greater than us, and do they still have it at this point? Did they maintain it? And is it also, you know, good enough for them to reach us? Like, all those things lining up is actually pretty rare and unlikely. So when you combine all the different layers, like, maybe sure it happened at some other time, but is it like that now, right? Would they still be so advanced? Yeah, I don't like this castling shit. I'm not even gonna do it. I don't even care. But yeah, like, would they be? They were so advanced, but then their civilization died. They went extinct for various reasons, right? Or like the minute time of our development is pretty noteworthy, because it's like we haven't been around in a technologically advanced state for very long, right? And think about all the circumstances that it took to get there, like the fact that oh wow, see, that wasn't just a mistake on the level of I blundered a pawn. I also lost my rook as a result of that, which is unbelievable. But my point is that you know, it's like 10,000 BC, 12,000 BC with the advent of farming until now, right? So a mere 12,000 years, which is nothing in the context of history, with millions of years, billions of years of the Earth's development and history, right? Like, it would be a very inconsequential amount of time. And the reason why that's relevant is because what are the chances at this exact point in time, right, we would have something like that happen? It's almost too convenient and self-obsessed that people are. Right, where, again, it might have happened in the past, but they've already died out because they're already just so many circumstances that could happen to us, all the extinction events. You know, think about it just from the Earth's perspective. It had to survive volcanoes and eruptions and asteroids and dinosaurs and all, you know, all these different things that have come about, that how would you you know, it's like an expression I use, like, oh, we couldn't destroy the planet even if we wanted to, because you you know, the Earth has been through all that. It survived asteroids and meteors and everything like this, volcanic eruptions, every tragedy, you know, natural disaster imaginable, and yet you would still say that somehow, you know, oh, save the planet. Like, we wouldn't be able to destroy the planet even if we wanted to, but I'm still trying to play it out smart, but it takes like one move that I made wrong that messes up the whole game. Okay, dude, yeah, I'm not interested. I was trying to pass off like I'm not interested in standard chess, but I'm not interested in this apparently either. You can just tell, like, it's one of those things, like, I force myself sometimes to do it just because, oh, it's such a good filler category, but just like you don't care. I'm just doing it just to do it. Like, not saying that some of these people aren't decent, but it's also just like, this is the whole beauty of 960, is that, like, it's much better at an entry level, or it's arguably not, but it's, you know, the assumption is that people take it so seriously and study so much that, you know, there's only so much studying you could possibly even do with this, because people still do and still will do that, but it's like, it's a case where they give me a stalemate. I don't really care. This is the last game I was gonna play anyway, so forget it. Whatever, this site could be active, it could be decent, but that's the next level problem, is that, okay, you finally find another site that's somewhat active, but then the player base on there is going to be pretty bad, even though if I'm bad too, right? It won't be the most competitive or interesting These are the placement games, obviously, so that's fine. Let's look at my overall record then. So I did the little time format gauntlet. I won 2 games, lost 1. The 2-game win streak there, 0-game win streak there, 0-game win streak there, 1-game win streak there, and I'm just doing it just to fuck around, but not a bad site. It's maybe a little minimalistic, simplistic with the UI and everything, but that could be some good little last refuge. And I'm surprised I've never even heard about it or seen any reference to it. And maybe it's just relatively new, and it's maybe more so focused on the mobile market. Like maybe it does a cross-platform thing with the mobile market. Like I saw the app for it, obviously, when I look it up. So maybe that's the bigger focus, but it's still active either way. Okay, it's the new Chess 24. I guess you could say probably still more active than that. Okay, so today I'm continuing my little mini-series on Chess Hotel, some random site I just discovered that maybe seems relatively recent, and it's sort of simplistic with the UI and everything, but at least it seems to have some amount of active players, I guess. That's actually a pretty good number. Last time I had around like 800, so that much is actually decent. I don't expect the level of competition to be very high, but again, it's not like I'm very good anyway, so I'm doing a bit of a time format rotation. So like, you know, I'll play 1-minute games until I lose, then I'll play 3-minute games till I lose, then I'll play 10-minute games till I lose, then I'll play 960 till I lose, and that can be like the whole session, of course. And so that's a fun little time format rotation. Play each one till you lose. If I draw, I can still keep doing the same one. And yeah, after I failed my Permadeath chess challenge on chess.com with like the raw rating aspect of trying to get to a rating by a certain date, I failed that. And then I also failed on Lichess. So I had to delete my accounts there. And so now I'm not able to play on those anymore. And so now I kind of had the Permadeath video game anthology where I'm playing like chess inspired games until I lose, and then I move on to the next one. They are like you know, different games on Steam that either are directly related to chess or somehow inspired by it. And then I had that, and I also have maybe the square off thing I could do. I did also the Permadeath website gauntlet, but that ended very quickly, like ICC and all the other ones, Chess Kids even, I did embarrassingly. So yeah, think about the levels that I failed at. And I guess, no, I didn't fail on the raw Permadeath with chess.com. I had to get to like 1500 by like the beginning of like 2024, right? And I had time left, but what I did was I also can't fall below 100 mark once I get to the 50 mark. So I got to like 1350, and I was still ahead of schedule, so it was fine, but then I fell below 13. And that same thing happened on Lichess, where I got to 1750, and then I fell below 17. And so I failed both of those, and I failed the website Permadeath Gauntlet with all the other remaining websites. And then I also was able to... We can still do the video game anthology series, and then we can still do this. So that's kind of like the last refuge of chess that I really have. Like, there's nowhere else to go. Right, I played everywhere imaginable. So let's go ahead. We'll start with the faster formats that I don't like, and I tend to really play badly and even worse in these because, yeah, it's like a mini Permadeath format without super high stakes to it, because it's just like, it doesn't really matter. It's just an episodic basis, but you want to value your time, but you want to make some moves at least well, and this is where openings really help and come into play, is because, not that I, again, really know openings, but at least a few that I play I kind of know. The reason why is because I didn't mean to even do that, but it helps you save time at least in the opening, and then it turns out fine. So this can still be good, actually, as far as the pawn structure. You could pin it down here. I could go here. The biggest concern, again, is not your level of play, but it's more so time. Trading pieces becomes more desirable because of that, because you're kind of just, they're good sort of filler moves to have, right? And you're trying to simplify everything. You can give a check there. I don't really care too much. They have 2 knights. I have 2 knights as well, so it's nothing really crazy going on. This will be fine even if I end up losing a pawn. You just get to compel an untold amount of trades here that you're able to really appreciate. That one I actually can't do. That would have been like a royal fork, actually, come to think of it. Now here I'm going to make some obvious mistake, and the reason why I'm going to make a mistake is because I don't know what I'm doing. They'll check here, force me to go in here. They could check again here, and that could just be a mate, or even if it's not a mate, it could be... They're definitely dictating the action quite a bit, and I fail to understand really how they're doing that, but... Right, like it's a few seconds left, so you can throw them off a bit here and try to keep moving back and forth. Okay, all right. Bullet placement game. I mean, it sets such a bad precedent for how you play, right? Like, this is why I really resent the faster formats. Like, what do you really get out of doing it, especially at a low level that so many people do, even to a moderate level? Like, nobody really knows what they're doing. You're trying to cheese them on time. It's just... It's not a very... Even when I win, I'm kind of upset because it's like... You're not really winning, right? I'll be losing and then I'll win because of that. I don't know. It's good for people who get to show off, who have studied for 20 years. So it's like, oh, look how fast they can play because they're so smart. Also, they have to study for 20 years because they're... You know, if they were so smart, why do they have to study that much? And if anybody studied that much, maybe you'd be similar. So it's just like... There's a limit to how far that goes. But okay, this one I don't have to be as fast, though. Now this I don't mind. You would think I actually should like this a little bit because I tend to not really take all the time in a 10-minute game anyway, but bullet is garbage. Blitz can be okay. Rapid can be okay. You know, just some of these classical can be the whole point. It just makes sense, right? You're playing a game for the first time. You don't know what you're doing. Like first effective, you know, playthrough. And what you're doing is you are... able to would you want to speed run a game for the first time or take your time and really try to get immersed and figure it out? It's almost like people acknowledging they don't really enjoy the game, that they want to subvert it, like, oh, faster formats are boring, but then that's just like saying the game is boring and you're just cutting it down to, you know, trying to make it somehow faster. So now you could hit this with the rook, but they chose not to do it. They could check here, but they really can't check here because I could take... So we found ourselves in a bit of an odd spot. It's not a bad position, but I'm very good sometimes at creating like comfortable, stale, maybe drawish positions, but somehow in these faster formats, I'm not quite as good. But you would think if I do that, it would favor me because, you know, it doesn't matter. We're just going to get a draw and who cares? Like, I'm really not even doing anything. I'm not even trying to do anything. Just you figure it out. You know, attacking is kind of irritating to do sometimes, so you could vacate the file a little bit. I don't really have anything going with an open file. Normally, I try to open the F file a little bit. It'd be nice if I could do something with the knight, but so often you just can't do that. Let me just do this for the heck of it. I don't know what it's really going to do, but all of our rooks are kind of not super engaged in the game. If they move here, it doesn't seem to really do anything. It'll give them possibly an open file anyway. They're a big fan of moving the pawns more so than opening a file for the rook. A better player would have done that in those cases. Like, they would have used that as a chance to open something. So the knight is a real anomaly there because you just can't do anything with it. And the reason why is because you can't do anything with the knight. And the reason why you can't do anything with the knight is, oh, whoops. Well, it's still okay, but it's just kind of sitting there and ends up being a useless piece. And even in the best case, it's not as good as a bishop, obviously. I'm pretty happy about this. You can just trade, you know, it's fine. You can set up for the double stack on here. Like, nothing's really happening on this side of the board. Normally, you would have some exchange happen. You're double covering, but something good can still happen because now if you raise, if you take, I could take for free, or if you take, I could still take in the sense that, okay, I was going to say, but if you keep going, that could be a problem. So there's something that can happen here if you force this to take. If I attack, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I would have had to take with the king because otherwise you're going to lose this. Like, the knight is really an anomaly. They could maybe mess up and take with the thing, then I take that, but It's just such a stale kind of stagnant position. They're not giving me anything to work with. So I could hit here, which is being double attacked. So that always opens maybe something up. Or at least we take this. I'm happy with that. You take back. I take. You take. That always simplifies things down to a certain level that is very okay with me. Now, the knight would be the piece to sort of come in and try to have an impact. But the problem is it's just not a good piece. So there's nothing you can do. You could take this. I could take this, but I can't even take it. I could try to bring the rook out somewhere here. You can't really do anything with that. So I basically let him have a free pawn there. I'm kind of forgetting about the clock a bit. To the extent that... I'm forgetting about the clock to the extent that I'm still up on time, but it's not the greatest spot to be in. That was more of a bait play just to try to get rid of the knight, by which I could then fork after, even if I traded down for that somehow. Or like this. So now if you take, I take for free. If not, I'm threatening the other knight anyway and double threatening this. You could go here, but then I could still take. So that was quite a killer move. And even when you get moves like that, it's not that, oh, look how good I am. He wouldn't have fallen for that if he had more time. So it's not actually a very good move at all. He's going to do some kind of crazy fork shit here, I bet. And I'll go ahead. I'll go here. I can't. I might still end up flagging, so that's not a very satisfying game, but okay. Like, again, you know something is flawed. When you win, it's not satisfying. When you lose, it's not satisfying. Let me just try to stay true to my opening principle, and I can't seem to... I don't really like this piece set, but this side only has 2 piece sets, actually. But typically here, I don't take, and you do some sort of sequence like this, or at least that's what you're supposed to do, I guess, and I don't fully understand it, but... You do it like this for a while, and then you can obviously just wait until I would take, they would take, I would take, they would take, I would wait, I can fully take though. I can do a full take now unless they move the knight. And if they don't, that was free real estate anyway. Like, this could be a part of their bigger master plan, but it's really not, because they just gave that up actually for nothing. I may actually almost get trapped there. Let me go back. So this is adequately covered. I don't see the knight really doing anything. So yeah, as far as I can tell, this site doesn't do the best job of actually showing you the material advantage and stuff, but it's a case where I should be up like a full piece at that stage. You could actually hit it here, which is really weird how they're playing this, but... Okay, they resigned. Try another. So yeah, we can get on a bit of a roll with this from the perspective that blitz is not completely intolerable, and then my reward for losing would be we play a 10-minute, then my reward for losing there would be 960, which was what I was really trying to do. I was trying to find a place to play 960 aside from with chess or chess.com, and this showed up, but obviously you can play regular chess on here too. Best chess site for variants. And the problem is it'll end up being the big 2 again anyway. So here, just play it like a normal thing a little bit. I just lost to the touch move rule. I would have had to move that, right? And then just go here. So see, this guy doesn't even know openings, even though the one I do is the same one all the time. To the extent that it really matters. I wonder if sometimes what they're doing, like with the kingside pawn push, is really like a counter, because it's sort of like... Well, whatever they're doing here is weird, but... So here they can't take, otherwise I take a queen. But the problem with that kind of position is... Right, that it doesn't actually do anything. This is why I don't like the knight, because you can't do that. That seems like, oh, what a great position for the thing, but... it doesn't actually matter, right? There's nowhere good that it can go as a result of that, so you could do this to sort of mess up the castle, but actually it wouldn't mess it up fully. So we go here, we try to open the F file, attack with that. Like, my ideas are always like very similar, right? I always do the same thing over and over, and it's like, you keep bullying that pawn, you can neither move it nor can you take with it. And oh shit. That would have also been a touch move rule question. Because, you know, that was an unexpected kind of weird mating kind of position that I wouldn't have. I feel like I've never seen it unravel quite that way. If we take here, we lose whatever threat I would have had. And you can do... Now look at this. This is a hallmark moment in chess history. You have the ability to set up for literally let me destroy my own piece. Like, you had the ability to set up for a pin there, which he might not have done it then otherwise, but what's the point? The point is that I don't want to do anything with the knight. It's just in the way. If I go here, it gets taken. If I go here, it gets taken. If I go here, here it gets taken. Here it's in the way. Like, this is where the knight shows its okay. I give up. I don't care. Like, I would have had to give up a knight, a rook for it. Like, just that move is emblematic. I forget about the time. Forget about this. Like, I want you to appreciate what it just did there. Like, it's nothing to do with... It's nothing to do with trying to do a good move, trying to know what you're doing, trying anything. Like, you're not trying to do anything with it. And yet you still suffer for its mere existence, right? That's the problem I have with the piece. Just by simply existing, right, it is a problem. Can't go anywhere. You're not even trying to do anything with it. Like, it makes no sense. He's going to double stack here as well. The time-wise, I'm pretty far behind. This guy is a speed demon. This is going to end up getting the thing trapped. Like, you want to play Among Us chess. That's what it is. The knight is literally the knight is literally the imposter. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Not only will it not be useful to you, it'll even actively sabotage everything that you're doing in a way that is just unbelievable. So you could be hitting this, which I'm not too sure about, but the reason why is now you're triple attacking that, which could be very difficult to deal with because you have... Well, what if I just do that first? Then you'd have to address it. I don't know if that's even good. Like, I can't even figure it out. This would be almost a mating position, or I should always get something out of it. Right, even if I get like a threefold repetition, I maybe should have brought this into here. Oh, I'm dead. Wait. Well, this guy is very fast, but he's also bad. Like, you just had mate there anyway. So my material advantage is pretty bad. Disadvantage. He doesn't want to trade though somehow. I'm at least assuming these are players and not bots because it's even advertising like, oh, look at the player base. I normally would be able to draw this, but because of the time issue, it may be a problem. So I didn't play that well at all, but it's a case where I could do it a little cheese on time. I don't know how pre-moves really work on here, but I'm sort of trying to manually do it. Try to promote this shit here, I guess. It doesn't give you the best feedback on checks, really, because you feel like... It's not giving me the best feedback either. Oh, shit, I did actually get it, though, before that, so I can still keep going. I didn't get the best feedback either on checks or on pre-moves. Like, how does that actually work? It's probably something you have to go... Does it not even have pre-moves, though, really? That's so stupid. So for these faster formats, that makes no sense at all, because... Piece destinations. It doesn't show you checks feedback on the check, and it doesn't show you it doesn't let you pre-move apparently. It'll drive all the Hikaru fanboys crazy, or everybody who wants to act like they're a bullet fiend. Now we'll take here again. I can play it slow, and that one I survived, but generally you don't want it to come down to that anyway. Oh, I just gave up a piece. Yeah, that's fine. You know, isn't that instructive though? You know what I mean? Like, I'd totally do that in a normal game if I had more time. You might think it doesn't, you know, seem relevant, but it just makes you play differently. Like, you're just worried about it. That's not even a good move. Like, it just encourages you to play the wrong way. You go here. You go here, try to double attack this. I can still do it where I double attack that. So I'm down a piece already, which I gave up just for nothing. And at the same time, I could basically decide to maybe take here. I don't know. So they're very open with their bishops here. Mine is not very good. That's cute. Now you'll do something with this, some kind of force sequence. All right, you can have it. That's fine. You can just tell. Like, it's just not, at least in a longer format. I'm not saying I wouldn't make mistakes or play badly or that I win every game. It just means that if I do, then at least I can't, you know, whatever. I would accept it with more grace because it's to do with that. Like, these other time formats are just stupid. They're not instructive. They're not meaningful. They're just garbage. Did you know that you can never capture the queen with the king because anytime you would potentially be able to, it could have been a stalemate, you would be in check yourself? But that's not even true, because what if you checkmate? Wait, what? Why is it acting like I got something out of that? Like it's a good thing. You've entered a different league. Okay, let's do the 10-minute, and then we can do 960. So now here, at least I should take my time, which I probably still won't, but yeah, those formats are very, very stupid. Right, they just don't feel very enjoyable or instructive or anything. Even at the high level, they're still going to be relatively lower than what you typically would do. And the reason why is because you could still play better. Like, why play? You're a GM, but why play like like an IM or GM in Bullet when you could play like a super GM? And why not try to be better? Like, oh, you'll be bullying a bunch of people in Bullet, but then, oh, go try to play Magnus in Classical. Oh, right, you can't. Right, why not try to aspire to that? So it's just a way for people who've spent 20 years of their life studying a board game to try to show off in some stupid way because you have, I don't know, you don't want to feel like you've wasted your time. You're double attacking this, which could turn into a problem later. In fact, it's immediately a problem because just by moving that, you could do something stupid here. You bring in the knight. Like, every position is getting sort of messy here where I can't actually just do anything simple. I could have gone here to try to force the trade because they'd take. Even in the faster format or a slower format, I'm trying to rush it somehow. And it's kind of impatient with it. So you can play guest accounts, which I assume are still players, but whatever. Like, again, it is what it is. Most of the people on here aren't going to be that good, including myself, but if I actually apply myself, I can be pretty decent. Like, I could be the highest rated player on here, except there's somebody who's like 80,000 elo because he's clearly a hacker. Not even a hacker, just a cheater. But even then, that doesn't make sense because even if you won every game ever, you would still eventually stop gaining rating because you would basically be in a position to. Oh, he can take this now, though, is the problem. Or I guess not, because the end of the sequence would be that, oh my goodness, the knight goes there, but then you can push it out. But then I can take here, like, I don't know. Yeah, that square off board is going to sit there now collecting dust. And it was the perfect storm, too. It was the perfect opportunity to basically, like... sometimes I trade just because I want to trade, but... Like, I was using it for Lichess or whatever, and it's like... It's the case where I... You know... I was using it for that, but now I can't because I can't play on there anymore. So it's like they'll push this in kind of a cheeky way. So it's okay. We'll go here, I guess, even though I'm not too sure. They could come back here, double attacking into here. I wanted to almost put the rook there. So now if he does something with his pawn, I could take that for free, but he's not going to miss such a thing. That's what it bogs down to. Like if you're playing somebody at a similar rating to you, right, a similar level to you, what happens is that if you play somebody at a similar rating to you, what happens is that would have almost worked if not for that. Right, because if I took, you took, I took. Then I'm going to be down like a second piece. I guess I just want to play a 960 because I'm playing this basically like the bullet thing anyway. Like the bullet or the blitz, like I'm not taking my time really as much as I complain about that. But then I have nothing to say because I accept the fact that it's my fault. And at least I have the time, so it doesn't come down to that. You know, that's not the reason why. You could raise the shit here, and then I have to move the queen. You could, that's like a free take there. Yeah, it sort of shows you the stale nature of the game, right? Anytime you're in an evenly matched game, right, relatively somebody around your same level, it's going to be potentially stale, repetitive, drawish. Anything you can see, they can see, that kind of thing. And then anytime you look at the time format, so if you have a long time format, moderate, 10-minute plus classical, if you have a similar rated opponent, right, around the same level as you, if you have an even matchup, a decent length time format, most games are going to be very repetitive and drawish anyway, so that ends up being what it's all about in terms of like, that's just how the game works. It's not just, if you play it perfectly. It's not just if you whatever have infinite time. It's like, that is the nature of the game. It becomes boring, right? Like nobody here was going to make any obvious mistakes. I do, but then it's even obvious to me as I'm doing it, and it's like, that's fine because normally it would just be boring, right? Nobody's really going to do anything crazy. It's going to come down to time or some blunder because of time, because we're both at an even level, so anything I can see they could see too, and it's just like not a very fulfilling thing. So at a certain point, the studying becomes the equalizing factor, and so I'm down like 2 pieces here, or, oh, maybe not. That's kind of cute, I guess. If you raise, we could trade. I have double rook. Oh, it's actually not that bad, maybe. And again, it doesn't do the best job of actually showing you that material aspect, but you could take, they would have to take with that, which would then compel the trade, which I arguably wouldn't even want to do in my position because I feel like, with just the rook and the knight, even though the knight's a shitty piece, it would become more exemplified. Now it's like the queen could still have a certain amount of impact. So, but yeah, see, there's no feedback like a sound or something that would indicate the check. Even if I was to double attack that, it wouldn't matter, right? You would have to, you'd have to do it in such a way that, I don't know. You'd have to do it in such a way that you'd have to do it with a pawn, or at least another lesser piece like a bishop or another knight. There's no sense in attacking like this because sure you can't move it, but it almost doesn't matter. Now this is interesting, but I could just take it. So yeah, I could drag this out a little bit, but they're up by at least a meaningful amount. They have 4 pawns. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. Or no, they have 6. Never mind. So yeah, they're up by a net plus 3, 1 whole piece. I thought they were up by like another piece somehow, but I must have missed it. I must have gotten it back somehow. So now the whole incentive is almost just to play for a draw, and the way that you can do that is obviously by you play for a draw by just like you play for a draw by being incentivized to survive, because there's nothing you can really do here. There's too many positions like that where it just ends up being super stale. They're not really putting much attacking pressure though so far. I mean, something with the knight is going to have to break through whenever you put the knight in a position where it can't be taken, which is often easy to do because you don't want to trade down anything for it. It can be very problematic. You just keep moving around back and forth. I'm a little bit up on time, but it shouldn't really come down to that for them. And the reason why is because you could go to here, but it still wouldn't actually do anything. You could still hit him here. It wouldn't even be made, but you can do all kind of shit to block. Go here, but that doesn't work either. I'm almost boxed in here a little bit too much with the queen from the perspective that I could give a check from here. Like, I'm making it annoying for them, but I don't know what it is about my openings or general play that I'm giving up so much early or messing up early. I always would have a way of playing like a solid level that you could just I just play at a solid level where you would basically be able to survive and not, I'd either be up material if they make a mistake, or I'd never blunder material myself. So just by doing that alone, you can get pretty far, because that's often what it's coming down to. They could do a fork here, certainly. And the reason why is because so if they move the knight, I can give a check here. Okay, that should be fine though. Or maybe not. You still can't mate me though, despite all that difficulty. You need another piece in here. The knight for them has been pretty useless, which is what is allowing me to do this. You can't even give another check there. Oh, I could have almost done it in a way like unleash the thing. Right, I could have unleashed into a check, and then I could have took the queen. That stupid knight is getting in the way, and it's quite the annoying move because the queen, of course, isn't covered. If I go here, I could block it with that without it being made, because you could block it and then they would take, I would take, they would take, I would still take, right? So that's still a reasonable way to do it, and now I'm threatening a check on there, so that actually favors me, doesn't it? Because, well, they're still up the knight ultimately, so it doesn't matter. The useless knight that may or may not even be good, especially as their clock ticks down. and they maybe stupidly chose not to do that. Right, that how could that hurt them when they don't trust the knight either, I guess. You're going to try to promote at this stage. And the reason why is because, okay, this is going to be too close for comfort. What? Oh, okay. Now you can say, oh, that's all part of their plan, but they didn't know that I was going to do that and let them do that. So let's change to chess 960, 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll play this till I lose. I'm almost just doing this like speed run on purpose, it seems like. What app do you use to play Omni Chess? I think I looked at this before, but the problem was that maybe it wasn't super active. Right, like again, is it gonna be who is playing here? Player 1, easy AI. Or like it would need a certain amount of activity to be worthwhile. Or this sometimes takes a while to actually find somebody. Where can I find variants? Chess.com did actually have a very substantial amount of them. That was very impressive. I didn't realize, in fact, how many, because I had used it before in the past, but I guess I just never saw how many there actually were. I'm curious what you think. So Omni Chess is a good one, Pi Chess is good, but again, there's nobody who actually plays on here is the problem, right? They're all dead. But I'd be willing to check these out. Like they'll have some cool ones available, but they won't have an actual player base. That's the one thing good about chess.com is like, oh, even Chaturanga on there will always have like 1 or 2 people doing it. Because the site is just so big. But even then I always made fun of like, oh, look, the variant, there's like thousands of people playing on the site, but there's only like 100 total in the entire variant page combined. So it's like you're getting like 0.01% of the player base on the variants page, so it's kind of underrated the way they kind of hid it away, and it wasn't the best or easiest to use. But yeah, time formats are very deceptive because they show like a lack of value actually for the game. Like, what's the point in doing it if it's going to be so fast? So 960 I tend to be okay at because you feel like how do I even cancel this if I want to? But yeah, this dude was clowning with his, or maybe they keep banning people for that. This dude is clowning. He was like 80,000 elo. Like, what the fuck is that? So I'd be on here somewhere. This is just showing who's online right now, not everybody. That just means he's offline. But no, this is unfortunate because nobody actually wants to do this. Maybe it's because of the time format or whatever. But with all this hype about freestyle and GOAT challenge and whatever, all the different names. How many names do you really need for it? 960, Fisher Random, freestyle, GOAT challenge, like. And then how about 960 with a setup? Or I mean, that's just setup in general. Setup chess, like where you can just go with any position that you want, which a lot of people would probably just choose the original position if you could choose, right? You can set up, but then you can keep it the same because it's a case where, or again, I'm trying to play that too much like a normal opening, but you can always do some cheeky stuff at the beginning. It's almost like you are a castle too. If I just like, move this up, I can move everything out. It's not really a bad place for the king to start. You take, it's always tempting to play a little too fast, especially at the beginning. And so now you have the ability to raise a couple. This should be a free, oh no, it's not free. Alright, you're just gonna watch out a little bit. The bishops are together on the same side. This is the bottom feeder effect. I can be the best player on this site because nobody actually good is gonna play on here, just in general, not too many people. But I do like the fact that they could do something cheeky with that, like they'll attack the queen. But then wouldn't I still be able to take it for free? Like, or first of all, I could check. I could take and check number 1. No, this thing isn't going to have a cover at all, actually. Like, oh no, they could attack the thing, but then I could take and check, or I could have just took and then I don't know. I'll just do it. So we're gonna clear out a little bit of space. They could take actually with the pawn, but I don't see why they'd do that. Hey Chess, how's it going? You go here, I guess would be fine. I don't know, my pawns on this side are all messed up. I want it to be, oh, let's go for like the little V-shaped structure, which means the knight's gonna be totally trapped in there forever. Or never mind the fact that this isn't covered either. And it's pinned to a rook. Like, the knight's always just such a troublemaker. Grinding some rapid. Oh, I'm just trying out this site that is pretty dead, but because I failed all my challenges on the other sites, I have no choice but to play here. I'd never even heard about it until just then when I was looking for some other site. There's so many obscure sites, but just nobody ever plays on them is the problem. It's called a Chess Hotel. Because I've already gone through ICC and I went through... I guess ICC is the only other site worth even mentioning. I don't know what all the other ones even were. They don't have any player base at all. ICC Chess Kid is actually somewhat active, but again, it feels bad for playing on there because it's meant for little kids. Not saying that they're even not good at chess. Or this is actually a disaster because you could have double attacked that. So we have the Dark Square Bishop. I'm not really playing this very well, but they have a double diagonal going kind of the wrong way. If they attack this, they would take, I would take, they would take, I would still take, but it's just like, I don't know what I was trying to do with that. Let me just get it past here, then I can move the king back. Yeah, we can play one, sure. I don't have an account there anymore, but you can send a challenge like a link. Let's see, if I do this, I could double take, but that wouldn't be worth it at all. Let me just target this. I would have traded both my bishops for knights, which I shouldn't really do. You could easily take that, it doesn't concern me. You could take this, take this. This could turn out actually really bad, but also it's not really a big deal. Or actually either way that you go is problematic for the queen. Right, no matter where you go, you're getting targeted by something. And the problem is you can't even give a check properly, like, you know, with the rook because it's covered by another one. Yeah, I guess I'll allow that much. Like, I can still play on those sites, but only against viewers and only, right, just for the sake of convenience. But not really, like, gain rating on there or something like that. So this might be part of some master plan because of the fact that this knight was a liability the whole game. Yeah, that it just makes you realize there aren't enough actual sites out there with respect to... It might be better off just letting them have it actually, because if I do this, I'll be forced to take with that. So I'll actually just let it go, I guess. I lose a piece there. That whole sequence was kind of stupid. Okay, don't click it. Okay, we bet. Oh, that's even bad too because you have the unleash. Whatever, I'm gonna lose this one anyway. Oh yeah, let me open that so I can at least see it. Sometimes it'll show you like the most recent message there, but or maybe if I go to my actual chat here, it should show it. No. Okay, paste it again. Okay, this I got totally destroyed. I somehow play differently in some of these, whether it be, I always have some excuse, like, oh, I play differently because it's a different time format, or I play differently because it's, you know, because it's a variant or something. It wouldn't be, this game is rated. Oh yeah, so it won't even let me play it. Well, it doesn't matter to me, but since I don't have an account, it has to be unrated, I guess. Otherwise, it won't let me join. Ooh, Bioshock Infinite. Are they doing the 1999 mode? Oh, I'm stealing somebody else's content. I'm reacting to somebody. The only thing I know Iron Mouse for, I think at least, is that he's going over that cliff moment. Was that even them? It probably was. That moment from, yeah, let's see how well I play against the 2300. Which is sort of provisional, but still probably decent. Okay, we go here, King's Indian, which is refuted clearly by everybody in the modern day and age, but I still do it. And it's not like I really know it at a high level. Yeah, that's literally the only thing that I know her for. Fucking laughing at the he's going over that cliff moment. I don't know if that's how I discovered the moment. I think I had seen it before. It just happens so abruptly, and the way the guy yells, people find funny. Like, it sounds so real. Right, the guy he says he's going over that cliff, and then he yells suddenly, like, because he's actually falling over the cliff. It's the ultimate perfect analogy. You're laughing at somebody else doing something that you think, like, oh, he's gonna blunder that, and then you actually blundered it yourself. Did the double attack there? I'd like to do this, but I can't do it. It's always this little, like, nuanced pawn element that ends up being, you know, what these better players do, right? Like, that opening looked pretty clean and safe. Like, it's fine. I'm not losing in the opening. But then something stupid ends up happening here, which obviously isn't surprising with the nature of the knight. Like, oh no, it's actually trapped. How did he miss that? But actually, somehow there'd be some line that's, like, advantageous for me to still do from that. Like, if I did exactly the right way, or there's something even better that they can do. Like, I don't know. He'll turn down something good for something better, like that. Because what you should actually do is again, both knights. I mean, that's part of the strategy of chess, honestly, is like both knights are, you know, liability. So he's immediately, everything that went wrong happened with the knight, right? It's like this one got trapped. He didn't even take it, but he must have, you know, a deeper thing. He's gonna mate me here, or the other knight is getting pinned. Like, I love these people who defend the knight. It's one of the great debates in history. Like, how is it possible that you don't see the liability nature of it, especially in the early game? Maybe you could argue something better later, but whatever. This one's garbage anyway. Yeah, that's one of my core principles, is you always try to trade the knight early, which didn't happen there, obviously. And you could think it's a personal preference, but I think at least trading one knight off is pretty objectively sound, because there's never a time where anybody really is saying that, oh, you really need a second knight. Right, like a knight pair. There's no such thing as a knight pair. So you go here. You go here. Okay, now he'll do that cheeky thing, which, to be fair, it's okay, but I mean, it's one of those lines, like, you know, we get it. Like, it's just annoying. It's not even necessarily. Oh, that's a little different though. That normally isn't there, because you're normally at least able to take back. So at least that's a little better iteration of it. I don't understand exactly how that happened. normally that pawn isn't actually there at all. And guess what? Now the knight once again poses a liability because it just gets in the way. I mean, there's nothing. Gonna be some crazy sequence that you can do, but I don't care. I'll bring out the queen to cover it. Once again, the knight is going. Wait, what? Once again, the knight is going to get in the way in some manner that allows you to they would take, I would take. Somehow these openings are going actually differently than expected normally. Like yes, he's better, but normally an opening would be fine, or I would last a decent amount of time. Right, I'm getting a little, I guess I'm sort of out of touch with it to the extent that, not that I really know openings, but there was a time where I was doing pretty good with them. And just playing like a very solid level that was safe, but you know, you just have that principle of like look how fast I play too. Like I have no real interest in it because I'm just always either I think I'm better than them against like typically the random opponents I'm playing, or I think that they're better than me, so I don't even try. In a way, like it's pointless. Like what am I really going to accomplish here? But betrayed there, they take back, and they're only +2, so it's not that bad as it seems there, but the position itself is kind of nonsensical. Take a free pawn. Like I'm just, if I play like this even against the fucking 1200, I'm not going to do well, but yeah, so much of it is just borrowed knowledge, innate sort of thing where like, okay, studying becomes the whole thing. Just not to diminish that, but it's sort of to put it in perspective, right? If you, when you see Hikaru playing bullet games and showing off, don't think about the fact that, oh, he's so good, even though obviously he is really good, even compared to other people who study whatever. Think about like, oh, the 20 years he spent studying, like, oh, well, you could always say, oh, if I studied that much, I'd be pretty good too. Not as good as him or whatever, but, that comes first in my mind. Like, it's a little bit deceptive for that reason. Okay, let's do like one more. I thought it was already over. But yeah, I'm not even playing like just a simple opening, or maybe he kind of knows what I'm trying to do, but I shouldn't be losing in the opening the way these last games have gone. Like, it should be pretty normal, but they do some crazy stuff with the pawns that cause some problem. Already the knight is in question. You could just do that. Or even I put it in a suboptimal position there, but I actually don't even mind that. So now you just do some basic development. It'll come down to some cheeky backwards pawn because of my V-shaped structure, but even that doesn't bother me too much. So it's a comfortable opening. And yeah, like against a player like this, even if I was playing the opening well, it's like there's nothing he has to fear, right? He knows I'm not going to mate him or do something crazy. So, any sort of offensive idea is not going to be, whether just because that's my style that I'm not a very aggressive player, or whether it's because whether that's just normally how people play, because it's a lot harder to see like attacks and sacks and all this kind of crazy stuff. You would typically find it to be I don't know. It'd be a lot harder to do that than it would be to just react and play safe and defensively and whatever. If you go here, they would still take with that, which almost would be worth it now because that's going to be so bad. But or in fact, now I have to do it. Mess up the whole pawn structure, so that's pretty much all. He's certainly doing a good job punishing the knight's existence. Like I said, it's the right way to play. It's pretty obvious, but a little bit unfortunate because of the simple fact that You could take that, which I can't really cover. I could go here. I would take back. Yeah, it sort of shows you a certain thing in society too that is reflected there, like where people would rather subvert a process that they claim to value than actually truly value it. It's like the absolutist principle in terms of like when you look at studying in that sense, what happens is good games. When you look at studying, what happens is that you're removing the need to have to think in the first place is hard, right? So that becomes more important than anything else, or at least that's a big factor, a big part of the way. Or like once you've studied everything you possibly could, which you never can really do that, only then do you actually say, okay, now it comes down to other things. Even whatever people think they're valuing, it's like that comes first, right? If you don't have that base knowledge, nothing you do is going to matter. Yeah, that's actually a pretty rare sight that I lose like 3 times basically in the opening. I almost want to try this program at some point just to see what it's like, but it ends up being so expensive. And it'll just be boring as hell, and I'll just do it as a gimmick, but I won't even want to use it. Attacker, coward, swindler, or endgame wizard. Yeah, coward is me. I'll show you how to win against everyone after my world championship victories in 22-23. Wait, who are you? Who is saying that I'm a world champion 22-23? I'm now looking forward to showing you even become stronger with my innovative training method. Who is talking here? Fritz 19. Oh, maybe the software itself is talking to you, saying that it won some championship. Fritz 19. Fritz, Komodo. Wait, why is it only showing that though? Chess base, so those are the ones besides chess base. This is literally what all the GMs and stuff use, but GM Vichy and non. Chess base has changed the chess world forever. It's more or less unthinkable now not to work with it. 15 is awesome. Reference. Up to 18 now. Personal standalone, like $500 fucking dollars. Dude, chess players don't make that kind of money. Even that's like half of a grandmaster's monthly income. Like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Benjamin Feingold's gonna starve. That's why he had to start streaming. It might not seem like a big deal, but learn chess. It's such a fallacy kind of shit, though. Like what would you have to do? Oh, just read chess books or just play. This Souls-like stuff has become annoying. Like, there's way too many games that are trying to play into that now. Basic rules explained, levy. It's just deceptive. It's not really how it works, right? There's a dishonesty to it. Like, literally, okay, just read books and stuff. Like, it's people, on one hand, you'd feel embarrassed. Like, oh, you could think harder and play longer if you wanted to, right? But then, see, like, it's a psychological thing. You could do that, but then you feel almost embarrassed, like, oh, I don't want to have to do that. And it's like, oh, the fact that you have to study means that you're not smart, but that's actually what smart players have to do, or people have to do in general too, like in life. Like, oh, it's almost embarrassing to have to do that. But then, right, people who are good actually do it. Or so you would feel embarrassed for taking too long or for studying, but then at the same time, you would you would be embarrassed to see like amount of time, like, oh, you have to read books and you have to whatever, read books, do puzzles, do lessons, have a tutor, all this kind of stuff. So I lost in every single mode, but this is like a little mini format I could do sometimes, where I go through like the different time formats for that. I really hate doing puzzles, but let me maybe try a couple. You're just trying to find generally the best move, like not even something that they captured there. The hardest part sometimes is just finding out what it's even trying to get you to do. You could take. It would be like a queen sack. Like, a lot of these do involve sacks. that if you have find the best move for black. I don't know if there's like a mating pattern. I'm thinking almost of sacking the knight, but I don't see exactly how. If you pull the queen away from there, it's like, oh, you could check there, but then what does that even do? I still can't. If you take the bishop, then the queen takes. It doesn't change anything. If I sack the thing, it doesn't change anything. If I take a pawn with the bishop, they take back. It could probably be something simple like this if I go here. No, okay, fine. I'll just make every random move then. Like, I don't get it. What? And like, what's the point? What does that even matter? And is that the whole puzzle or what? Or did it just do that because like, what does that even mean? What does that have to do with anything? I'm so confused. Like, it's not a clear result. Like, even by doing that, so what? Right? It's not one of those things that has a tremendous amount of impact. So they're attacking the queen, but you probably wouldn't want to do that then. You probably just, this isn't too bad. You give a check, so now they're forced to deal with that, and then I can take the queen. You got to get these to the point where they're second nature for you as well, in terms of, I don't know what I was doing for a while though. I was actually on a pretty good stretch. I'd have to go back and almost look. Like, I was just playing like openings very solid, very safe. I was taking my time. I was calculating a decent amount, right? Like when I went from like 15 to 17 or 16 to 17 in a reasonable amount of time, which again isn't that big of a deal. Lichess inflated, whatever, but it's obviously a situation where there's still a difference. Like, you're doing something better. I guess I could rotate back and do it again if I really wanted to, but whatever. See you tomorrow. Okay, so today I'm going to continue my little time format round robin where I play every single time format on here until I lose a game, and then I move on to the next one. So we go bullet, blitz, rapid, and then 960. I don't really do a time format for that. I just do 10-minute, but whatever, that counts as like the fourth one. Then I play that till I lose. So mainly I was actually trying to play 960 for whatever reason. That's what I felt like doing the other day, and that's how I discovered this site. Actually, just I looked up like, oh, best places to play 960, and aside from the obvious ones, right, this one showed up, and I didn't know what this even was. C is his name. Sounds like a bot name, but no, my point is that yeah, I don't like bullet at all. It creates all kind of bad habits. It's just irritating. It's a kind of flashy, showy thing that people do, and it's the sort of thing that actually makes queenside casting pretty good, or at least okay when I normally clown it completely. But no, it encourages all the kind of wrong things, like, oh, clicking speed. Didn't you know to be the best chess player you have to be the fastest clicker, even though like you're an over the board champion? Like, you didn't sign up for that. Okay, dude. It doesn't even still matter though, because where's the other follow-up, right? Like, I still don't even see it. I do this so quickly as if I even know what I'm doing, but I don't. You would take, I would trade down. I don't even care. Like, it's fine. You could have just taken there all along. Now you can like pin it, but it's I don't know what's happening. It's unbelievable the kind of situations I end up in. Like, they really make no sense. Right, like you can have bullet if you want. Like, I always concede it to people. You can have it. Like, I just don't care. It's so stupid. That's even still pretty good for me, aside from giving up the thing for nothing, the bishop, just because I'm a clown, which they didn't even still take. But no, like, and I still win it. Like, isn't this instructive? Isn't this how you should play? You should play completely badly in every way, not instructive, not interesting at all, and then, oh, you flagged him, what a great experience. Like, fucking... Yeah, Bullet is trash. I mean, again, even at a higher level, it's just showy, right? Like, even better players will blunder stuff that they wouldn't normally blunder. It's just like you're trying to subvert the drawish, stale nature of the game, but you're not acknowledging what it is, right? If you don't like the game, don't play the game, but don't try to subvert it by, oh, I'm gonna turn it into like a speed run clown show experience. So I had no expectation of winning that. My whole thing is I always like to play safe, but I can't do it in a bullet game because it's too chaotic. Like, right? I somehow have this thing like where I go along with the flow of the game. Like if they play a certain way, then I should just stay the course and just do it the way I do it. Like I'll just play very safe, very stagnant, and then whatever happens, happens. Right? I don't like one thing that you can't pre-move on here, especially in these faster formats. Not that I'm really much of one to do that, but you go here. Sometimes I just go a little bit too fast, but I mean, it's the whole point of the fucking format. But you'll make that one mistake that ruins the whole game, and it's just not worth it. You could just take. I'm very happy with the trading potential. Can't do that. Go here. Castle. Go here, probably, although it's not really necessary as much here. Normally, it's to stop the knight from getting pinned there. I could see like that. That's not a move that I make. I don't want to make it. But it's like it's technically okay, but it's just weird. Like you don't need to be doing shit like that. We have the diagonal here, which I could maybe attack into with this. I'll take. It's like I'm not even looking at what they're doing. That's the problem. You at least have to do that much. At least process what they're doing. I'm done. I don't care, man. It just creates the bad habit. Like you have more time, but I don't like it. And again, even if you get better at that, it's not going to help you in other ways because it's like you're not really understanding the fuck is going on. You're not really understanding what's going on there as much. At this one, you have a little bit more time that you can take. Right, like where I should at least take this one seriously. I'm doing this to try to avoid the ads, which is, I guess, understandable with the free site. But how does Lichess even do it then? Lichess doesn't even have ads and it's free. So they just get a certain amount of support and donations and stuff, but I don't really get how it could be enough to do that. I love how big of a thing it is. Like, oh, making a competitive chess site or an active chess site is such a big deal. It's like, dude, oh my god, it's like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, it's literally just chess. Like, it shouldn't be. You know, anybody could just do it. Like, oh, I could just make a site. Not really, but you know, anybody can just make a site where you can just play chess. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. So it comes down to some other superficial factors where, you know, oh, chess. Why is chess.com so popular? Not because it's the best site. Oh, because it literally is called chess.com. So whenever you look up chess, that's the first one that shows up. Like that could literally be part of the rationale for it. I took way too long there. I don't know why even, but yeah, this is just some random site that I found, but otherwise I didn't even know what I want to do right now. I have kind of other formats floating, but I don't have them on a fixed way. I got to check out my Mad Max save file at some point. If I can just they take there, I'm fine with it. If I take their bishop, I'm fine with it. Again, the art of trading is very much my thing. That tends to be good because you minimize so many things. You don't have to take as long yourself. You don't have to worry about now I'll try to do something cheeky here, but it won't really work. See, like this move is kind of baffling. There's no clear point of anything that I'm doing. I'd be willing to trade that in a heartbeat. You always end up with this bishop on the wrong side where it feels like as much as I revere bishops, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't... Yeah, that's a weird move. Also, could you maybe tell that my style of play is trade heavy? Because... And that was a little of a knee-jerk thing that I didn't have to do, but... We lose that, which is fascinating to me, but okay. Just lose my knight. Or no, I don't even lose it. So we could just wait it out and then... they would take... They might try to do like the yo-yo effect here. Or this is actually much more relevant because... Oh, bro thinks he's me with the yo-yo. Bro thinks he's me with the yo-yo effect, dude. Is this going to be a rare occurrence of the yo-yo actually being workable? But how? Normally, you could do this. But now you can't, and the reason why you can't... Well, that at least delays it a turn. There's got to be something else I can do with it. You go here, you're threatening a knight, and you're threatening that mate. So they have to address that before they do anything else, and that's easy enough. They just gave it up for the trade. There's another pawn that I could potentially deal with here. They are potentially... So they had a very monster threat, and they just gave it up. But then again, they have 2 minutes left, so... Play worse or whatever, and just get away with it because of time. Fun and interactive experience is always the best. You could go here. And the reason why is now you're pinned to that, but it's not really pinned because you can just move it. Okay, bro. You're hitting this. If you take, you can't really do anything with that. My time is just too low. You can't even pre-move on the fucking side. That was a bad move. Try to trade here. I'd actually be in a reasonable spot, but I just can't do it anymore because there's nothing he can do with that because you literally... But he could sort of bait me and just do it anyway, and I won't be able to react to it. Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, once again, I'm in a flag. I mean, I can't believe you can't pre-move on here. Like, what is that? Or maybe I just don't know how to do it. That's so fucking stupid. But no, at least Blitz shouldn't be as bad. You know, generally I might even like that as a format at times, but I just can't. I just have to get in a rhythm of like playing how I normally would play, which was actually pretty decent, but maybe we've forgotten because I haven't done it in a while. I don't know what is such a big deal with doing it. Like I play very safe and I play very, you know, just solid, consistent. Or like even with the trading idea, I do it maybe too much, right? It's one thing to just do it in a general principle, but it's another thing to overdo it and try to, you know... But in those faster time formats, I guess you can't really blame me. So those I genuinely don't even care about, but I'm just indulging them for the fuck of it. And that's sort of a fun format, just a time format rotation. You play as each one until you lose a game. Okay, I can't even use this site. Forget it. I don't know what it is. Why everything feels so finicky? Why did it move twice there when I'm clearly trying to do one? Like, it doesn't really matter, but... That actually worked out pretty well, but we check here, we could hit this, go here. Okay, I could take there, I could check here, and then I'll take a bishop for sure. Either you take, or you're hitting here, you could go back again. We have the open file. The Dark Sphere Bishop, I'm not too sure exactly what its impact is going to be here. Okay, so now we have the open file, and then I don't know what else really we can do to get in there more, though. This will force something to happen, but we go, okay, fine, just trade it. Certainly, the bishop pair is probably better than the knight, but then again, the knight and the bishop, then again, it can be sort of versatile in a way. So unless I use this bishop pair really well, you were already in the end game. It's not even been a minute. Like, why? As much as I'm saying the time format matters, like, okay, dude, okay. So now you go back, amazing piece. We're playing around his color almost perfectly, and then the piece that isn't very relevant right now is the Dark Sphere Bishop itself, so I wouldn't mind even trading that off for the thing. And the reason why is because maybe the knight could actually be better because it can hit every square, or maybe I'd be willing to trade that off, but I really don't even want to. As much as I say the knight is shitty, this is the one scenario where it can sometimes be decent, because it can, especially if it's you get down to one bishop versus one bishop, it's a situation where whatever, they could play around the colors or do something like that. So I could take that anytime I want now. And I could also go behind here and try to eat something up. I just like exposing the bishop's uselessness. Now this would actually be quite good to get behind here and hit the... Again, the bishops are obviously better, bishop pair scenario. They're better if you're able to actually use them together. And the problem is that I'm not really doing that very effectively. Like, the dark square bishop can force this out, and then if it moved, I could take with this. So, like, I need that knight to move now. You can't do anything with that at all. So, we could almost try to march this if I get the king there, but there's no entry for that. But yeah, you can't do anything with that side of the board. Like, it's literally, there's nothing you can do. Right, this is the target that we got to try to go for. Maybe he can block me in there a little bit, but I don't really see it. So we'll keep going here and see if he can do anything to stop it. You probably pretty easily can. I could bring my own light square bishop out here. And the reason why is because you could cover that as well. And so I can't go there at all, which is kind of dumb. See, I maybe should have taken that when I had the chance. Now it's causing me problems because... No, what you could do is you could hit this with this and then double attack. But the problem is that I could take this then if you did that. And so now you have a check. And you have a inability to do that. And it's going to just be a very drawish repetitive position. But I think that it's okay, I guess. Like, how do I don't know, now I almost just need filler moves because I can't even do anything. So if you target that, that's okay. Right, but now you attack it with that, but then by doing that, I take this, and then by doing it again, I take the knight. If you move the pawn, I take the knight, or I could take the pawn too. If you, come on, bro, come on. I don't think my light square bishop is doing a whole lot, so it's okay to actually do this. Right, where you're just using it as filler moves, the same way that he's doing with the pawn. So this is what happens when you have a decent amount of time, or, it ends up being stale and dry. So either it comes down purely to time, or it comes down to an even matchup between evenly matched players. People will always say, oh, because you play so perfectly, like at the highest level, but that's not always even the case. You could do the same thing with your bishop too, I guess. Like, there's nothing you can do here. Somebody could make an obvious mistake. That might have very well been a mistake, because you should just lose the knight then as a result. So what the fuck was that? I was even saying nobody can do anything, but then you do some dumb shit move like that. How much you want to bet the knight is always a liability and always gets in the way and just sucks as a piece? Oh, your goose is cooked now. Such a trash piece. I mean, look at that. Look at that. You really thought a knight could do anything there, even though it was decent, arguably even better than a bishop, but either because of the bishop pair or either because of some other reason. It keeps being that you keep playing the same people over and over, probably too, whether they're bots or whether... But this site seems at least somewhat active, which maybe is a bit of a lie, but I'd rather you just take. I'm happy with that. Rather just trade, like, just play this like it's bullet too. I mean, with the trade fiending mentality, which tends to work pretty well for me, but it's also pretty stupid. That's interesting because you really can't cover that at all, so I had to do that. Go here. You can hit this. You could come here, check, but it doesn't really do anything. I want to try to open this shit up here. And the reason why is because we're double attacking that, for example, right now. I want to open this, open the rook towards the thing. Look how in a 10-minute game, I end up playing more. I guess it's because the opponents don't do as much stupid stuff, but it's like you end up playing more disciplined or more safe here. Or whatever, I don't know, like trading more effectively here than you do in a bullet game somehow. I don't know why. We could double attack this and... you could go here. Let's see, you take this, you go here. You could hit this. And so if he moves the wrong one over, that could be a problem for him. I wanted to kind of incorporate this, but I don't know exactly what it's going to do right now. Well, duh, the fact that you'll be able to win that at least, and then by doing that, you can also... I don't see anything great that comes out of this. We can take a pawn, so that, I mean, that kind of broke the whole game open right there. We can go here because it's also covered by the knight. So even if you take, I take, and I'm up a couple pawns, which may or may not actually materialize as far as, you know, should I try to protect mine or should I try to... He doesn't have like a lot of great moves here, so... He goes there attacking this. Now the only problem that I have is I can't... Fuck. I can't actually do anything because... It would have been, you know, like, oh, I'll attack his back, but I can't somehow. The position of this is so bad that you might be better off doing it here. Like, if I go there, he could go here and check and take that, so... I'm very baffled, but I actually can't take anything at all, which makes no sense to me. Again, how this piece works as far as a actual usable piece in the game of chess. It's just an amazing, amazing piece. He's going to end up winning because of that one side over there. Like, he'll get somehow... It makes no sense, but it's somehow going to happen. Or I could set up to sack for it, though. You see how every game the knight is the odd piece out, and you could say, I like how people make both arguments too. They'll say, oh, well, the reason why the knight's the issue in the game generally, not just for me, but you know, for other players, it's just because you're not good enough. You just don't know how to use the knight. And then, oh, they use it the other way too. Like, well, the reason why every game is a draw is because it's played so perfectly. So it's a bad thing for you to be bad. It's also a bad thing for you to be good. So like, what is your premise? Like, in other words, the game can't be flawed. It's either your fault for being too good or your fault for being too bad. Like, what the fuck is that? You're looking at the innate objective nature of the piece. The piece is objectively flawed. It's an odd one out. At the low level, it's bad. At the high level, it's not as good as what it could be, right, as the bishop. And so now, same thing with the drawish nature. It's just how the game works. Like... Now, I'm very unhappy with that move because it doesn't make any sense to me what I can do here, but okay. I guess I can try to get through here and, you know, like what can he do that would let him cross that? Because I'm double attacking it anyway. I could put my knight there. You know, people do all kind of mental gymnastics with chess that is glorified way out of proportion. Like, part of the premise, people would say, oh, the reason why we like it is because of, you know, we like it because of the simple fact that, well, this is sort of a little forcing because now either you go and I take or you don't and I take. What is the point of that? What was the point of that? Okay, this is covered adequately. The main thing I'd want to do then is just be able to, you know, whatever I'm doing here isn't even going to work. That's the thing. Right, I try to push this, but it's not even going to happen. And so now it's a situation where you know, it's really not even going to happen. They might try to take out the ones on the other side, which could be worth it for them. But okay, dude. Okay. Now, logically, that was the worst move as well. Okay, fine. But at least now what you could maybe do, they'll attack it though. What you could maybe do now is you could maybe try to do it like this. So then they'll hit the one in the middle. Or I could keep giving checks actually. You could bait for a threefold repetition, but I somehow don't know what's happening with this. I mean, this is never going to materialize, just to be clear. Like, what I'm doing here, it's not going to happen. There's just nothing you can do with it. They're going to push it there, push around the knight all the more. It's all good, dude. Keep doing whatever you want. You're just giving them free moves by doing this. Like, fucking makes no sense. So now you're covering this and you're stopping the path of that. I can also go here. You can try to squeeze in there for that one. I could try to push that. Like, I had a pretty good advantage here. I just don't know how to do anything with it, honestly. Now you're going to have to move the knight because moving the king could leave something exposed for you. I could try to push these two at once. This is also covered by that there. So the knight always has a small window to try to catch up to stuff. If you don't do it now, it might be too late. Right, by which you can easily... you give a check there, which is cute. I'm not denying the level of cuteness at work there, but the thing is that you go, you attack it, then I cover it there, so I don't fully get it. Right, because now it might be too late for you to catch up, or not really. Man. It's just such an annoying piece. I don't know how much I can... I'd have to cover it there again. He's gonna go there and something, so... I don't know. I can't cover it. That's the thing. Like, there's nothing you can do. Okay, he gives a check. He takes it. I don't care. Again, all these chances when I have a draw, and I just choose not to take it because I want something interesting to happen or I have a sense of honor. Like, I don't care. And then even there, like, I don't... That's the biggest cause of loss in chess. Sometimes is like just the boredom of it. Like, you just don't even care. You don't even want to deal with the position or whatever. And the problem is, even if I took that, I can't take the other one. So, like, I can't even do anything. Right, he'll outpace me. At least these ones go kind of fast-paced in the sense that we played kind of the way I like to with trading a lot. And then you get to a very boring, stale draw, and then you choose not to take it, and then you get so sick of it. You're not getting upset by, like, oh, look how good he is, or look how much pressure he's putting, or something. No, you're getting upset by, look at how stupid the game itself can be, and look how, you know, I could easily take a draw 100 times over every single game. So I should just do it. I mean, I'll be undefeated if I just take a draw every time. That was looking almost like a stalemate. I'd be impressed actually if you mate here. Forget about stalemate. You go down, but it could very easily be a stalemate because... No, but you can just move this shit away like that. Oh shit, it's close, but they're gonna keep giving checks is the problem. It's just so dumb. Like, you could look at my video record, and I'm not defending that. Like, if you're again, it's one of the principles, like, you have to understand the nature of the process. Like, if you don't like the game, then don't play it. But it's kind of like, so many of the losses are like, it's an even position or even a winning position, and I just lose interest. Now, that's a legitimate form of defeat. Like, okay, well, you have to stay focused. You have to, you know, not get overconfident or whatever. But so many of those instances are like that, where it feels like less a flaw with the player and more just a preference. Like, you just don't really care enough. You just don't really want to do it, because there's nothing in that would teach me something like, oh, I should just not get bored of the game and just take the threefold repetition earlier. I could have easily done it, right? He was willing to do it here with the checks. Like, there's nothing you can really do in those positions. So there is a great sense of boredom with the game that's like just irritating. Let's do the 960 then until I lose a game here. It's never an excuse. It's just more like that does seem to be a flaw with it in terms of, I'm sure a lot of people have that. Again, you might think, oh, that's a bad excuse. Like, oh, you only lost because you got bored. But I somehow find, that's why they call it a board game. But I somehow find that to be the case so often. And the reason why I find it is because, you know, subvert the need to be so bored then by studying for years instead, as if that's good. But yeah, I don't know how much we're repeating players here, but we have, this is a pretty good diagonal actually that you got right to the king. You got a bishop here already going like shit. What if you have the ability to create a double diagonal here? Maybe I'm getting a little overzealous with it, but it's a case where you attack the thing there. It seems like a bad idea actually to give that up, but you go here. I'm already trying to do like too much, but all I'd have to do is vacate this pawn if I somehow do that when I be playing a bit too aggressively. Like, see, you might think too, oh, if you know how to attack, right, this would be easier, but you wouldn't know how because this position would never occur in normal chess. So some of the same principles might go into it, but it's also not even something you would have ever, you know, thought about. But no, I like that too, the prevalence of these formats, like where you get to they can just take that. I don't even care. See, I'm playing like hyper aggressively here where I'm just disregarding everything, but this won't even do what I'm trying to make it do. This I can take, this you can take anytime you want. And the reason why is because now you could unleash this somewhere, but there's nowhere really good to unleash it, and then take this for free potentially. If you took the, oh shit, that's what I was actually trying to go for, but I'm too stupid to understand that it would, you know, again, my oversimplified attacking mindset where I always try to do something in a stupid way, like if he moves the queen now it'd be mate, but I mean, we have the dark square bishop itself to move around, and you could sack the bishop, doesn't really do anything. You have this. Oh no, I blundered my bishop. So now if they take it, I mate. And if they don't take it, I can maybe do something. I go here. Oh, but that's good because now you're forced to take it, but not with the queen, unfortunately. That would have been good otherwise. So now you're in a position where none of that actually accomplished anything, which is why, you know, don't attack unless you're really sure of it, and I still don't get what that even did. You know, or you're depending on them just making, what the fuck? Here we go. The stupid castling rule that can be so dumb. Okay. Okay. As usual, the knight just gets in the way of something. We can go over here, and what we can also do is I can decide to basically, we would almost have the yo-yo thing intact there. You could do this to try to cover. You could don't do that. Although it could be problematic still either way. Right, whether they take or don't take, that's a disastrous position to be in. And so now you have a position to go here, give a check there potentially, which isn't even very good. And then you also have the ability to There's no easy oh no, you can just give a check on the back rank and shit there too. So that was a disaster. I don't know who some of these people are sometimes. Like, how are they so good at times? Or I'm just not really concentrating because I'm trying to play all these games too fast, it seems like. Now, you have a potential check, but you missed the en passant, so I don't know if that was really worth it. You have a weird little check here, which isn't actually going to do anything. And then you have the ability to... No, I don't know how people would rationalize attacking. Like, it's something you would have to study, or I just don't get it. Because every time you try to do it, it ends up not working out. And I don't know how... You'd have to sit there for a long period of time to do it, I guess. It's not something that's going to be super natural. Like, it takes so many steps, so much effort, your opponent's countering it every step of the way, whatever. Unlike what you would see with respect to the that would be cute, but then you'd still take it. So I've just sacked my rook for this, which is still fine. Like, is there going to be a point where I can actually like do something or not? Because it's just nothing's materialized. I have some sort of cheeky bishop pair here that could almost be enough to do something, but that still doesn't matter either. So it's just promote the thing. I sack the thing. I kind of lagged there a little bit by showing the pawn. And I can use the stupid ass knight for something. They would take, I would take, they would take, I would still take. Yeah, this site was just sort of random. Why can't I even just do this? Like, you do that first, but that's maybe not a good idea. Or now it's even worse because you have... Oh, it makes no sense, man. Now I just give that out for free because I'll also be able to take that, which made no sense at all. I didn't have to do that. Whatever, dude. Yeah, we play each one till I lose. I'm just trying to show it as a speed run format just to demonstrate what it would look like if you did lose. But no, you should definitely be able to pre-move, and some of the UI and stuff on here is clunky. It doesn't give you the best feedback, like, or any feedback, like when you're in check. I'd at least want to get a stalemate. I think I did in one of these. That's always satisfying to just survive, because of course draws also are the safety mechanism. So that's one like hack for permadeath players in a game like chess, is because the game ends in a draw so often anyway that it doesn't count. Right, like it doesn't count as a loss that I'll play till I lose, but not until I draw. So you can draw as much as you want with respect to, you know, you still get to survive. Like that counted in the permadeath bot challenge where, you know, if I drew, which I don't think I did, but if I did, right, I could always draw higher rated bots and it'd be fine because that would still count as surviving. Maybe I should still have to play them till I beat them, or maybe that should just count as surviving them all together. But it's a case where okay, congratulations. I like how they didn't do that. You lose, but then you have entered bronze. Like, does that mean that I went down to bronze from somewhere higher, or does that mean, why is it celebrating the fact that I got fucked there? Yeah, that was a little short format. I'm not really too happy about it, but I don't know what else I really want to do right now. I'll have to look at my formats. Okay, see you later.